right. Thank you all very much for joining. Let's get started. Welcome to our third webinar in our quarterly webinar series. Today we're going to talk about some reporting tools. My name is Corey. I'm a trainer with Megamation. I think I've talked to a lot of you over the years. Um, and I put this together just as what will be kind of a reminder for some people of some of the reporting tools, and hopefully I'll be showing you some new information as well, some tools that you maybe don't know about. So keep in mind, this is not a training session. I'm not I the goal is not to teach you exactly how to use all of these tools, but to show you the tools that are available. We do always have our support line available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, who can help you out with any of these tools. And we have unlimited training as well for everyone. We've got unlimited training. So if you see something in this as we go through this webinar that you want to get some details on, or you really want to get in and get the nitty-gritty on how it works, then you can let us know here, or you can email myself, or email support, or Matt White, and we'll get a training session set up for you. So the way we're going to do this is I've got some slides, I've got some demonstrations I'm going to do. We're going to take questions in the chat. So keep an eye on the chat. You can go in there and post your questions. Matt is gonna keep track of them all, and we're gonna stop for questions after each segment. And I'll answer any questions that you have. Like I said, we're not doing a training session, but by all means, if things come up that you want some detail on, or you have questions about, by all means ask, and there's probably somebody else who has the same question, so so we can answer them for everybody. All right, so let's get started. So here are today's subjects. We're going to talk about 3 different reporting tools, and we're going to do a small bit of training at the end where I'm going to show you how to save your reports to your local workstation, because that's changed a bit in the last few years. The first thing we're going to talk about is the analytics section. You've all probably seen the analytics section. It's on the home screen as soon as you log in. And that's where you access your KPIs, or your key performance indicators. So we're going to talk a bit about how you can set that up, and maybe some different tools in there that you can use to set that up. We're going to talk about a few simple reporting tools for when you just need to get a simple list of data. I've got a couple of different ways that you can do that to get a quick spreadsheet to that you can then add your own formatting to. And we're going to take a look at the reporting module, which is kind of the next evolution in the analysis module. Likely everyone here has seen the analysis module, and the reporting module is very similar, but we've got a few additional features that we'll talk about. And then, like I said, we'll talk about saving and sharing your reports at the end. So the first piece here is going to be the analytics. So the analytics is meant to show you your KPIs and have them readily available to you at all times. So your KPIs being your key performance indicators, and not everyone's going to have the same KPIs. Not every client, we know that not every client has the same KPIs, and not every person within a company will have the same performance indicators. So the analytics section of your home screen is completely user specific. So everybody can set up the analytics to show the KPIs specific to their company and specific to their position, so you can see exactly what you need to see. Another point is you can add the same analytic more than once, and that's going to be important, and I'll show you as we kind of look through our analytics here, that I'll explain why that's important, why you can add, why adding the same analytic more than once is important. So on our home screen, when you log in, the first thing that you're going to see is you've got your three you've got your three sections, your shortcuts, your analytics, and your action console. Everybody knows those are all completely user customizable, so everybody can set them up with what they want. The analytics right in the center, these are interactive graphs. So the one that's usually there by default is open work orders, which I'm showing here. This is an interactive graph, so I can click on any slice of this pie and it's going to show me the work orders that make up the slice of that pie, or make up that slice. Now, if I want to change what analytics I'm looking at here, because open work orders is nice information to have, but it's not everything you need. I can go to my analytics to display, and you'll notice that I've got on the left-hand side, I've got available analytics for almost or for most of the main modules. So I've got one for preventive maintenance, which gives me my PM compliance and my PM on time percentage. Very important information to be able to track if your PM program is being followed. We've got purchase orders. So your purchase order spend and your open purchase orders. We've got there's a whole list, and we can't see them all on this screenshot, but there's a whole list of maintenance analytics that we can add in, and we're gonna see a couple of those here in a minute. Over on the right hand side, we have our displayed analytics. Right now, we're just seeing open work orders, but we can add in as many analytics as we want. We could add everything if we want, and to see all of these analytics. Keep in mind that will slow your system down, because you do have everyone that you add in has to load every time you open your system. So you might want to be selective on only putting in what you want to see. And one way that you can be selective about that and you can organize it is using analytic groups. So you can create analytic groups within your you can create analytic groups within your within your analytics, and you can do it in two ways. You can have share filters. So you can create a group that has a share filter, and what that means is you can have 4 analytics that all come from the same table and use the same data sets, and you can share a filter among those. So we'll see that we'll see that a little bit here in a moment. Or you can create a group of analytics that maybe don't pull from the same data sets, so they have independent filters, so you can filter each analytic individually as you go. So I created one here, and I'm going to show you this in my demo system in just a moment. But on the I created 2 groups. So I created the maintenance group, and in my maintenance group, I've got open work orders, I've got work order completion performance, I've got emergency work orders, and work order hours by employee. All of these all of these analytics all pull from the same data sets, and I'll show you how to find out what those data sets are in a moment. But they all pull from the same data set, so I can add a filter just to my maintenance. So I could add a filter that to show me just work orders of a certain type, or just the work orders for my trade or my group, and then it'll filter all 4 of those analytics at the same time. On my PM one down here at the bottom, I've got my PM/PDM, so preventive maintenance and predictive maintenance. So I've got my PM compliance and my PM on time percentage to show me, how is my PM program being followed. But I've also got my reliability, my mean time between failures, and my mean time to repair that I can use then to track how well is my PM program that I've got in place, how well is it working. So let's take a look at this in a real world situation. ahead of myself a little bit here. Here we go. So what I have here, this is the result of that analytic of that analytic setup that I have. So at first I have maintenance, and I've got it filtered by high priority. And let's go ahead and remove that filter from there. And this is, now it's going to refresh. So I've got my maintenance group. I've got 4 analytics: my open work orders, work order completion performance, emergencies, and work order hours by employee. Then I get down here and I've got my PM group that's showing me all of my showing me my 4 PM analytics. And then down at the bottom, I've got open work orders again. So here's where that becomes important. I'm going to go to analytics to display, and we're going to see that we've got our 2 groups, and I can add, as I did right here, to maintenance, I added a high priority filter. So this is going to show me open work orders, work order completion performance, emergencies, and work order hours by employee, all filtered with this high priority filter. So that it's showing me just high priority work orders. And I did that just by adding the filter to the group rather than by adding it to individual analytics. On my second group here, because this one doesn't have a shared filter, when I highlight the group, I've got no filters in my window here. So I have to filter each one individually because it does pull from different data sets. So I've got a filter here on my PM compliance, and then I could add one to my on-time percentage, my reliability, and my maintainability. And then when I get down to the bottom, I've got open work orders again. So I'm showing that open work orders analytic twice, but the reason I'm showing it twice is the first one is filtered by high priority. The next one is unfiltered. It's all my open work orders. So I can add that same analytic multiple times. I could have open work orders listed 5 times for 5 different priorities, 5 different groups. I can do that by adding multiple analytics and adding separate filters to each one. Now, another thing that I can do when I look at my list here, I can pop this list out. If I want to, this is a long list. I got to scroll through to see everything. If I want to see them all on one page, I just click right here where it says pop out. And now I have a nice dashboard where I can see all my maintenance information. I can see my PM information. If I scroll down, I can see my open work orders again down here. When I'm working right from this dashboard, I can go ahead and add filters to these analytics right here from this screen. I can go to my group that has an independent filter, and I can choose to add filters to any of these analytics. So I could go to PM compliance. I could add a filter to it if I want to. So right now I've got HFP on it. I could maybe remove that filter by saying no filter. Then I get my full PM compliance. But then maybe I want to go to settings and I want to change my interval. So my interval right now is quarterly, but maybe I don't want to see it quarterly. Maybe I want to see it monthly. And then I can see all the months. Or maybe I want to look at it in a trade display mode. So it gives me a bar graph by trade. So I have lots of configurability here on my analytics that I can do right at this analytic level, and I can do it from this nice dashboard, so everything's laid out the way I want to see it. And then when I'm done, I just close that and it folds it right back up into the center of my home screen. So the analytics it's a powerful tool. It gives us lots of useful information. Gives it a couple of different ways that we can lay it out. We can add filters to it. We can change filters on the fly, or we can have default filters set in the analytics to display. So What questions do we have?
Yes. Hi, Corey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Matt. Hi. Mike, the Tender was wondering, can you add the total open work orders to display? And then another question was, how can I export this analytic window to use in a meeting when you had all the graphs up on one page there?
Okay. So the total open work orders. I assume he's looking for a number of open work orders. Um, so we don't really get the total, like a number of open work orders from our analytic. We can see that if we go to our work order console, or we can get it through our actions to display. Our action console, we normally have by default, there's normally an open work orders one here, but we don't have one on this demo, but we can do an action console item that would show us just open work orders, and then it will tell us the number of open work orders, just like here where we're seeing work orders awaiting parts, or open safety work orders. We could have it just show us all open work orders. And the action console, that's something that definitely you can call support, and they can help you create an action to show you counts, whatever work order counts you need. The analytic window, this popped out analytic is not something that can be exported right now. The analytics individually can be exported, so we can hit the little gear in the top right hand corner, and we can export any of these analytics into Excel. Just like that. So we can do that, and we can get the individual analytics. As far as this popped out kind of dashboard type window, we can't get that into, we can't export that into Excel to take to a meeting. You could, however, display this in a meeting just like this, because you can log into DirectLine from any PC, as long as you have an internet connection. So that might be an option for you. Otherwise, the only other way to do it would be to to export the analytics individually, or you could screenshot the whole thing, I guess, would be another way. If being able to export this is something that you're really interested in, or would be on a regular basis a useful tool for you, definitely contact our support team, and we'll talk with your account manager and see if there's some way that we can create some type of simple export or screenshotting of this.
And we have another question. What are the reports that should be requested from your planner to ensure that the software is being utilized properly? A bit subjective.
Yeah, that's kind of a subjective question. It's a hard one to answer, because it's different for it's different for everyone. And that's kind of what I said when I said that KPIs are different for everyone, because that's really what you want, is your key performance indicators. What you should be asking your planner for is, or the first question that you kind of need to ask yourself is, what are your goals? And then what data do you need in order to see if you're reaching those goals? What I mean by that is, let me just take my filter off of here for 1 second, and hopefully I can explain. So, if your goal, if success for you is completing all your work orders in under 30 days, having all work orders under 30 days, then work order completion performance is a useful analytic for you to have. If you're tracking your preventive maintenance, and you want to, if you're tracking your preventive maintenance, then PM compliance is a good tool to have, because it tells you how much of your PM is actually getting done. But then the other side of that is how reliable are your machines now? So the thing you really want, the place you really need to start is, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And then what data do you need to see if you're achieving those goals?
And Garfield, to your question about the standard report, there are analytics that are kind of in the system, but any data that's being collected and there's something you want to report on, that's when you'd want to kind of call support, call the account manager as well, and kind of say, here's what we're trying to track, and go from there. So there are standard reports or those analytics to display that he showed, but you can add to those and kind of, those aren't the only things that are available.
Absolutely. The best thing to do, and I'm seeing the chat there. Garfield, you're asking, for example, reliability, availability. That's where you would see your reliability, your mean time between failures, and your mean time to repair. A good thing to do is, why don't you and I get together? Maybe Matt will reach out to you when we're done here, and you and I can talk and see if we can come up with kind of a mission statement for you, or kind of a list of goals, and then I can help you find some analytics that'll help you reach those goals. Okay, that's something that definitely we should do one-on-one, because everybody's goals are going to be a bit different. Thank you for the questions, though. You really you had me on my toes. All right. Okay, are there any other questions about analytics before we move on? All right. Okay. So the next couple of things I want to talk about are the simple reporting tools. So this would be the when you just need a list of data, right? You just need a you just need to get a spreadsheet with some data. So we've got some simple reporting tools that will allow you to do that. One being the console exports, and I'm going to show you that just right in the demo. And then the next one is the QBF pop-up, and that one's a little bit more. It's got a little bit more involved. Some of the people who've been in here have been using the software for a while, have probably seen the QBF pop-up, or at least at support show you it a few times, because it's been around a long time, and it's a pretty cool tool for just getting quick lists. So let's start with our console exports. So the console exports are available, and you've probably seen them, and you may or may not have used them. And they're just on Windows like your work order console. So everybody knows, and if you don't know, we can help you. How to filter your work order console. So change what you're displaying, what data you're displaying, to use your planning modes and your sort criteria and columns to display. And you've probably got a nice work order console set up to show you, so that you can keep close track of all of your work. I've got mine set up right now to show me all of, I've got all my open work orders. I'm using planning mode criteria, so I've got a date range of the last 30 days or the next 30 days, broken down by issue 2. So I've got, all the nice information that we can get from our console, our estimated hours, scheduled hours, utilization, all that information right here. Well, if I need to take this to a meeting, I don't want to print screen my work order console. So if I go down to the bottom right-hand corner, there's an export button there, and I can click on that, and it's going to export exactly what I have in my work order console right into Excel, including, since I'm using planning mode, my subtotals for scheduled hours, estimated hours, and my utilization. So that export is very simple to use. And then once it's in Excel, you can really do whatever you want with it, right? You can add pivot tables, you can add charts to it, whatever you want to do, because you're just in an Excel worksheet. Changing what you export to Excel is a matter of just changing the layout on your console. If I turn off my planning mode criteria and I refresh, now I've got a shorter list here, go based off my selection criteria, and I can just export that to Excel. Whatever I'm displaying in the exact order of the columns that are displayed, that's what's going to export into Excel. And this export is available. There's my Excel spreadsheet there. So I exported just those 5 or 6 work orders because that's what I was displaying. So it's just a matter of changing what you're displaying, and that's what's going to export. And this export is available on the work orders tab. It's also available if I flip over to the equipment history tab and I'm looking at the history of this index conveyor. Well, now I can export that as well. I can export that same list. This was a very short list, but slightly longer. So we can export the history of my 40-gallon tank with agitator. That can be exported right into Excel. So I've got the history in report form, and you'll see that export functionality on the work order console. We see it on the project management console. It's on a number of the tabs of the project management console. It's very useful, and exporting just right into Excel. Now, you might wonder, well, or you might be thinking, well, I've done that before, but I export this stuff to Excel, and then I can't do anything with it, or I've got to copy a giant spreadsheet and paste it on my local PC. And I'm going to show you how to get around that, and how to get those spreadsheets to your local machine so you can do your data mining and your formatting nice and easy. So don't worry about that. We're coming to that part. So console exports are one of the easy ways to one of the simple reporting tools. The next one is the QBF pop-up. So what the QBF pop-up is, the QBF pop-up can be used from most search result windows. So when you search for a list of work orders and you bring up 100 work orders and you can scroll through them, you can use the QBF pop-up to get those work orders into a list. It allows you to choose multiple fields from the table. Once the fields are chosen on any QBF pop-up, and once fields are chosen, any QBF pop-up from that screen will have those fields selected by default. So the next time you go in to do it, you're going to have the same field. So it becomes a very repeatable report. The one downside is that it doesn't show on multi-valued fields. It doesn't show you all the lines on it. So if you were looking at work orders and you had work orders that had 5 equipment on them, you'd only see the first line of the equipment. So it's a simple, quick, easy report, but there are some limitations on it. Some limitations that you don't really see when you use the full reporting module that we're going to talk about. So the way the QBF pop-up works is you do a search. Here we did a search for all repair work orders. It was all repair work orders. So there was 209 of them. So I just hit select all down at the bottom, and then I brought up every one of those work orders. So I'm in the work order processing screen. I just used the regular search. I searched for repair work orders and I brought up 209 work orders. So I can use my previous and next buttons, and I can scroll through and I can look at each one of those work orders individually. But I can also click on options right here and I can choose QBF pop-up. So QBF pop-up is going to allow me to take those 209 work orders, so all the results of my search, and export them. So when I hit that QBF pop-up button, it's going to take me to this QBF selection. On the left-hand side, we've got all the available fields. So these are all the work order fields that I can add to my QBF report. The way I do that is I double click the fields and it moves them into the selected fields. Or I can highlight a field and I can hit the hold on, I went too far. I can hit the button in the center to add those into my selected fields. So I went and I selected my 7 fields here that I wanted to see on my report because I was going for a simple report, but there's really no limit. You can add as many fields as you want. Then on the right hand side, I can choose how to sort it. So I chose just to go with the default and sort by work order number. And then I select the radio button for export selected fields. So now when I hit OK, it took all of those fields and it created this nice, simple, easy export report. A nice simple export of those particular fields. And again, it's in Excel. So I've got my report in Excel. I'm able to save that report to the server, and I'm going to show you some best practices on saving your report to the server and getting it moved over onto your local PC. That's coming up soon, I promise. So that's just, again, a couple of quick, easy ways to get reports with the console exports and using the QBF pop-up. Some of you may recognize the QBF, those initials, from doing QBF searches. So QBF stands for query by form, and you can use that to do a search. I didn't include that in here just because of time restraints or time constraints. I didn't include doing a QBF search, but if you're interested in doing QBF searches, we do have a training video on that on our YouTube channel, and you can call our support line. They can show you how to do query by form searches as well.
Yeah, hi Corey, Matt again. There's a couple questions. One, how is utilization calculated? And I believe they mean on the work order console when you're looking at the different employees, you're kind of seeing the. I believe that's what they meant.
Yep.
As there, so they would like to know how is that calculated, and then obviously is that depending on the criteria selected? Which yes. So that's question one, and then the other one was: is machinery downtime in the QBF selection? Can you export that?
Okay. The first question, the utilization on the work order console is calculated through the crew entry screen. So you can you use the crew entry screen to set availability for your people, for your maintenance people, your mechanics, what have you. So you use your crew entry to set the availability. Then you put planned hours on your work orders, and the utilization calculates uses those two numbers, the planned hours on the issued work orders, and it gets the availability from the crew, and that's how it calculates the utilization.
And if I'm not mistaken, Corey, it also depends on what time length you have put in.
That's correct. That's the other piece of that puzzle, is that it depends on the date range criteria that you use. So mine went to 0% because I didn't put a date range on it. But once I added the date range, then it shows my available hours is in this one here. It's 80 available hours. My estimated hours is 8, so my utilization is 10%. So, and again, that one's a little bit off of the topic that we were covering. But that's something that we can definitely explore in kind of a one-on-one training session. So feel free to reach out and we'll get a training session going, and we can look at using the utilization in the work order console.
And then the other question was the machinery downtime. Is that in part of the QBF selection?
It should be. Downtime hours is a fairly common field. It's on most of the work order screens, so it should be available. I haven't checked exactly for for that particular field. But I can definitely check it out and let you know for sure. If it's not available, I'm sure we could add it.
Perfect. And then Garfield is wondering, WU, is that equal to PM hours divided by total time for PM? It's in the chat there, last one.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm no, it's available hours, available hours divided by divided by estimated hours. It's not, doesn't necessarily have to do with certainly not just PMs, but also not just and it doesn't have to do with total time to complete the PM. So it doesn't take actual hours into account, just planned hours. Right. Okay. So our last section, we're going to talk about the reporting module. So the reporting module, you may have you very likely seen it in the past as the analysis module. Some of you who have the very latest version of the software would have the reporting module. They both kind of work the same way, but what I want to show, what I'm going to show today is just a few of the features that are different in the reporting module. So if you've been recently upgraded and you're looking at the reporting module and it looks different and confusing, I'll explain why and why it's not as confusing as you think. I'm also going to talk about a few features that you can use in the export definition wizard to make your reports just a little bit more functional, a little bit quicker as far as analyzing your data. So the reporting module, it exports to Excel, and after we go through the reporting module, we're going to talk about what to do with those Excel spreadsheets that we've exported from our analytics and work order consoles and everything. We have some built-in canned reports, or you can create your own reports. When you create a report, you're creating it and you're able to run it multiple times. So you can create a report that you can run anytime in the future. So you could create a report that you run weekly. Then you can use template promotion to save the formatting in your report. So it allows you to save things like bolded column headings, or maybe some underlining or some calculations into your report, and then you can promote that. So every time it runs, that formatting is there, which also prevents other people from changing your reports. So the first thing I want to talk about is the export definition wizard. So the export definition wizard, everyone here has likely seen the export definition wizard, and if you haven't seen it yet, you probably will very soon. So the export definition wizard lets you go in and create your own reports. Okay, so you go in and you select the table you want the information to come from. You select the fields you want the information to come from, and you can in that export definition wizard, you can add subtotals to number fields, and that's what I'm showing here. So on my work order report, I added labor and material costs. So if I just check those two boxes here, and when I'm going through my export definition wizard, it's going to show me at the bottom of my report, it's going to give me a total of labor and material costs for whatever work orders I'm displaying. Down here at the bottom, I've added a subtotal. So now I'm going to get a subtotal for my labor and material costs by work order type. Another thing that I can do to make running my reports a little bit easier is I can add the default sorts. So because I added subtotals, I'm always going to sort by type, but I can also set set my secondary sort to go by date. And what that does is it makes it so when I run my report, it's always going to sort by type and date, and I don't have to change it every time. I still have the option to change it, but I don't have to change it every time. Keep clicking instead of pointing. So the other one I can do is my default search criteria, where I can set default I can set some default filters. So if I wanted to have my report always show me PM work orders, I could filter it by work order type. Or if I wanted it to always only show me closed work orders, then I could filter it by status. So that gives me the option to speed things up a little bit by making my making my filters and my sorts common every time I run the report. The last piece of it, and this has changed a little bit. If you're used to using the export definition wizard and you don't have the reporting module yet, you might not recognize this page, or it might look a little bit different. What we have here is some extra fields that we're adding, and there's a reason for that. So on this last page of our export definition wizard, we've now added a report name, a report title, and a report description. So the report name is what we're going to see the report as when we're exporting it. So when we're in export reports, we're going to see this report name. But now we have the ability to not have that report name show up on the top of our spreadsheet. Now we can add a report title. So my report name is webinar report, but when I export it to Excel, at the top of my Excel spreadsheet, it's going to say work orders with labor and material. And then I put in a report description. Again, this is just as we've always seen, we're putting in a report description. A lot of times people will put in a report name and then they'll just copy that to the title and the description, which is fine. It'll work. But a good thing to keep in mind is that the reason for that report description is so that if anyone else is going in to run a report, they can tell what your report does. So maybe they don't have to go and create a new report because you've already created it. And if you put in a good description, then they'll know exactly what your report is for. The other thing is, and I've run into this one many times as I've created reports in the last 15 years, if I don't put a report description, I don't remember what that report did when I don't run it for a year. So if I have annual reports that I create in the system, then the next year when I go to run my annual reports, if it doesn't say in my report description which ones are annual reports, then I can't find them and I have to go and recreate them again. So the report description helps others find your report and saves them from creating duplicates, and it helps you find your report later on, especially if it's not something that you're running on a regular basis. There are a few other options that we have here. First, once you're using the reporting module rather than the analysis module, you have to select a module for your report. I'm going to show you on the next screen why that's important. So I chose maintenance on this one. I can also check this report hidden from all users. If this is a report that only I'm going to run and I don't want anyone else seeing my report, I can check that box and it will only show it to me. Now, I mentioned the module, filling out the module here. The reason I filled out that module is because the reporting module, rather than the analysis module where we click analysis and then we'd have a list of modules to go into, and we go into maintenance and it would show it and it would be a separate window. Now our reporting module takes all of our reports and it puts them all together. So under export reports, we have all of our modules listed. And within those modules, we have all of our reports. The ones that are canned reports. So we've always had canned reports. You've probably run them in the past. You've very likely seen them. All those canned reports now show up in the same place as the reports you created, except they have this little asterisk at the end to let you know what that report is. To let you know that that's a canned report. So the ones with the asterisk are canned reports. The ones without the asterisk, those are ones that we've created. So the machine downtime report or Corey's work order report, those are all ones that were created in the export definition wizard. And I'm going to show you how to use this report module in a second, because we're gonna go ahead and create a report. And the reason we're gonna do that is because then we're gonna talk about saving reports. So let's go ahead and create a report in my demo system here.
And Corey, I'm just going to jump in. A couple people are just asking, oh, they wouldn't see the module, or they're saying my direct line does not have the report module. And, that's just something, reach out to your account manager, and it's just, I'm imagining it's a matter of just getting it active for you as a user.
So the reporting module, if you don't see the reporting module, you'll likely see the analysis module. And the analysis module is very similar. It has almost all the same functionality. The reporting module is just the updated version, is an updated version. So as your system, as upgrades are rolled out, you're going to see those, you're going to see the reporting module come up. So if you don't have it now, you will likely have it very soon. Garfield, sorry, I had the chat up, so I the calculating performance. Garfield, there are a lot of different ways that you can calculate performance. And it really is up to you how you calculate performance, how you calculate your team's performance or your performance or the performance of your PM program. It's very much up to you and based off of your goals. So kind of the same thing that we talked about earlier. So let's put a pin in that question as well, and let's take that offline and kind of talk about that one-on-one. Okay, so we're getting close on time here, so let's see if we can run a report, and then I want to show you guys how to save your reports. So in my reporting module right here, I've got all modules. So that's all modules export reports, and I have my report definition wizard just like I always have. So if I go to my all modules, here I've got all my modules listed. Under maintenance, I've got some reports, one being my webinar report. So this is the report that I created on my slideshow here. Back when we were looking at the export definition wizard. So in my webinar report, my sort criteria is already filled in. My filtering criteria I've got set to show me just my PMs. So now I'm going to put in a start date. I'm going to go back and look at July 1st until now. And I've got all my sorts and filters already set up. So I just got to put in a date and hit export. And now I have a spreadsheet that if I scroll down, I should see subtotals for costs on my labor and material for my PMs, my PMCs, and my PMIs, and a grand total at the bottom. So because I have that, or now that I have this report, I'm going to save it and I'm going to copy it to my local workstation. So here's a couple of points that I want to make about that first. So when we're saving reports, we always want to change the name of the report before saving it so you don't overwrite the template. So there's an Excel template for each report. And we don't want to overwrite it because if you overwrite it, you're putting data into that template that's going to cause you issues later. So we always want to change the name. You cannot save it directly to your computer. It might look like it because you'll go in and you'll see documents and you'll say, okay, I can save it into my documents. Those aren't your documents. That's on the server. And then we're going to use the copy or move files functionality to save the report to your local computer or send it via email. So let's do that. So we're going to take our report here and I'm going to hit File and I'm going to go to Save As. I never want to hit Save because if I hit Save, it's going to overwrite that template. We don't want to do that. We want to go to Save As. It's going to save it into this export folder right here. So it's going to have your company name and it's going to have your name on it. It's going to have your username. So it'll be under current folder. So just always select current folder. Then we want to change the name. So I like to make it easy. So I just add the date to it. That helps me in two ways. And this is my preference entirely. It helps me in two ways because it reminds me when I ran this report, and it changes the name of the report so that I can save it without causing issues. You can do whatever you want to it. You can delete the file name and put a whole new file name in if you want to. This is just how I do it. So I just add the date to it and I hit save. So now I've saved my report. And I can work with it in Excel here on the server if I want to. I can add pivot tables and whatever. But ideally, you'd want to have it on your local PC, right? You'd want to do all that stuff locally so that you can save it and you can just have it. So we saved that. I went File, Save As, changed the file name, and I saved it. So now it's saved on the server, and I can go back right here to my home screen, and I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to hit Utilities. And I'm going to go to Copy or Move Files, Copy to Local Workstation. If you don't have access to this, it is possible to remove access to this from the user security. So if you don't have access to this, you can either contact support or you can contact whoever the administrator of the system is at your company, and that can likely be added back in through security. But so if you don't see this, that's very likely the reason. So I'm going to hit copy to local workstation. I've got two directories right here under source environment. I have the analysis report directory. This would be any canned reports will show up in here. And the export report directory would be any reports that I created. So if I scroll down here, here's my webinar report. And I can tell the difference between the template, which is just webinar report, and the one that I just saved, which is webinar report 8/25/22. So this is the one that I want. I can highlight that, and I can either hit email files. It'll ask me, do I wish to email the selected file? I say yes. And now I can email it to myself. And I hit send email. Now I'm going to receive an email with an Excel spreadsheet attached. Well, maybe my Excel spreadsheet is too big for that. Maybe I'm looking at all of the work orders in my history and I've got a massive Excel spreadsheet that I can't email. Well, the other way that I can do this is I can hit download files. It tells me right now my local browser is going to open and I'll have the option of downloading the selected files from Dropbox. So it uses a third-party program called Dropbox. It's going to open this file up in Dropbox. Open on the wrong screen. There we go. So it's opening Dropbox.com. It'll preview my report so I can see. Here it is. And I want to get it onto my PC, so I just hit the download button right here. And I don't need to sign up for Dropbox to use this because we're already signed up on this end. So as a user, I can just hit download, it'll download it, and then here it is right here on my here it is right here, right on my PC. Oh my God, I moved the wrong one. There we go. I've got it saved locally. So now I can do whatever I want. I can add my pivot tables to it, or I can create it and throw a nice graph in it. And if I was a better Excel user, I would show you how to do that right now, but I'm not. So That's the key for getting that data to your local PC. You're putting lots of data into the system. You're making sure that you get all your work orders in. You're making sure you get all that you've got your PM procedures getting filled out, and that your checklists are getting completed, and all of that's happening. So the reporting module is the last piece to that puzzle. You're putting all the data in, now you need to use it, and you're going to use that data with the reporting module and with the analytics on your home screen. You're analyzing that data to help improve your maintenance team, improve your PM process, and just get things running smoother. So that's what all that data is for. And I hope you found a few tools in here today that would help you. That'll help you with using that data a little bit, better.
Hi, Corey. Jesse West says he maybe did that save function, not save as, and he's wondering if those templates can be restored, or the reports. How can the reports be restored?
Absolutely, they can.
Okay.
If you just call our support line, they'll just let them know that you hit the save instead of save as. They'll just go in from the back end. And they'll clear those templates for you. But that's no big deal, and we can definitely help you out with that.
And Mitchell was asking again about the analysis module not reporting. Mitchell, the analysis module is pretty similar to the reporting, and on your next upgrade, I think it becomes reporting module.
That's right. That's right. It's mostly visual differences between the analysis module and the reporting module. The biggest things are things like being able to have a different name show up on the Excel spreadsheet. But as far as being able to add subtotals or add preset sorts and selection criterias, or saving your reports and copy them to your local workstation, that's all the same whether you've got the analysis module or reporting. All of that stuff works the same. The reporting just looks a little bit different and is organized a little bit different.
And I just want to say to everyone too, again, the online training is totally free. It's with a live person that you can ask questions to directly. They also have the ability to kind of shadow onto your screen as well if there's specific things. Pretty much, if you're collecting the data, we can kind of help you use that data. I know there's a lot of stuff to go over, and anything that you need or want to do further sessions, I mean, you let us know. There's no cost involved, and it's available to any team member who might want to take advantage of it. Oh, and there's one more from Garfield. I did send you an email with some times for Corey as well, but there is another question there, Corey, about setting up a one or a one. Oh
yeah, the Garfield. Matt reached out to you. You can schedule that with him. He's got access to my calendar, and we'll get a one-on-one session going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And possibly tomorrow at noon Eastern. Would that work for you, Garfield? Actually, I'll write you. I'll write you after this, Garfield.
Why don't you take out?
Sorry, guys.
All right. Okay. If there are no other questions, we ran just about 5 minutes longer than I had planned. So thank you all very much for your patience. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you took away some useful tools. And as always, support and training are 100% included included in our service. They're free. They're unlimited. Take advantage of it. If we talked about anything today that you want more information on, contact support, and they'll set you up with a training session, or they'll answer your questions for you. Thank you all very much for joining, and have a great day.
And yeah, we'll be sending out a link to access this webinar, the next couple of days.
Absolutely. We'll send that link to everyone who was invited today. All right. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everybody.